Welcome back to another conversation on the All About You podcast. Today we are going into the world of dating. What's working, what isn't working, and basically what the heck is going on in the world of dating. My guest today is Cinthia. Cinthia, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So Cinthia, we've got a lot to cover in this podcast, so let's get cracking. From my conversations with other people about dating in the 21st century with technology, it seems to be everything is on apps. Yeah. Now, I'm really not up to speed with apps. I've heard of Tinder. My conversations I've had with people are everybody's lying.
Yep.
The photographs on there were taken 40 years ago.
Yeah. Catfish, 100%.
And I really want to explore this. Let's just dive into it. What is going on in the world of dating?
Not good things. Yeah, a lot of it is apps, and I personally hate the apps. Like, ugh. But, you know, I do go on them from time to time. I think it's just kind of like, I haven't explored this. Let's see what we got going on here. And every time I go into the apps, I remember why I got off the apps to begin with. Like, oh God. And it's just like the same old shit, you know. I don't know. It's kind of cringe, especially here in Spain because there's a language barrier. I mean, I'm pretty good with Spanish, but I'm not fluent yet. And with dating, I kind of want someone to fluently speak my language because I'm a big conversationalist. I love to chat. And it's just like, I don't know, like, hola, Cinthia, ¿cómo estás? ¿Qué tal? And it's just, there's not much to it. And then, like you said, the lies, the catfishing pictures, the pictures where the guys don't show their faces, which they're either ugly or married. And sometimes I call them out on that. Like, okay, why don't you have your face? Like, where's your wife?
Sorry, can I just put my hand up here?
Sure.
On Tinder, I thought there would either be someone's face or a full body shot. I hate to think what they're putting on their Tinder profile image if it's not their face. What on earth are they putting on there? Their cat? A bowl of pasta?
Well, sometimes it's like a very blurred photo, or like them looking off into the distance, or like maybe just their body if they want to, like, you know, show that off. I don't know. Sometimes it's a picture of their animals. So it's kind of like, okay, what are you trying to hide, buddy? Come on. Like, you're trying to set your best asset here. Like, you need to show your face. And so, I mean, most of the time I think they're either married or they have a girlfriend and they're just looking for a side chick. And I mean, some girls are into that. I'm not going to judge, but I'm not. And then there's a picture of guys with there's another girl in the picture, which, like, look, I get it. It could be their sister or their mother, whatever. But, like, guys, don't do this. If you're trying to sell your best asset of yourself, like, don't have a picture of you and another girl, because you never know what girls could think. I don't know. Do those girls consent to their picture being on your dating profile? That's a huge turnoff for me. Whenever I see a guy with a picture with another girl, it doesn't matter if it's their sister or mother or whatever, swiping left, because, like, that's just dumb. That's dumb advertising.
Can I just ask then?
Yeah.
What is going on with the images the females are putting on?
Honestly, I don't know, because I mean, I know what I put on there.
So when you go on Tinder, do you click on, I want to look for a man, I want to look for a woman?
A man. I unfortunately, no matter, I've tried really hard. I'm still not a lesbian. I tried.
No. But when you use the app, do you, one of the things, the first question, are you looking for a man? Are you looking for a woman? So you can look at the female pictures, or you just go in to look at the male pictures?
I just go in to look at the male pictures, unfortunately.
Okay, because I'm very interested, because I want this to be balanced. I'm interested. What sort of images are the girls putting on? Are we putting on the hair extensions, the false eyelashes, and the filled lips? Or are we getting a bit more intimate? I was actually talking to somebody at the weekend, and they said, you'll probably find there's a lot of food pictures.
Yes.
Excuse me, I've been married for a long time, very happily.
Good for you. I'm jealous.
Why are you putting a food picture on your Tinder profile? I don't get that.
I mean, speaking, I'm a foodie. Like I work with food, and I don't do that because it's not like a food app. It's a dating app. Like no one gives a shit what I ate.
Has it got hidden meaning? You know, I mean, we've been in Spain here, and we had the upside down pineapple things, didn't we?
I remember that.
I mean, if you put, I don't know, a jacket potato, that means this. If you put a hamburger, it means that. Is there some secret code? Maybe there's a secret code.
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, maybe we've uncovered there's a secret code. If anybody knows, please can you let us know? Because I think there maybe is a secret code.
Yeah, let us know. Because, I mean, to be fair, I don't see a lot of guys do this. I mean, I see guys like eating something, but I don't see a lot of pictures of guys like just food. But I don't know if there's a code. I mean, maybe the young people know. But
well, I'm going to be asking around because I think there's obviously a secret code on these food pictures, because I cannot understand at all on a dating profile, well, in theory, you're looking for a partner, you think, let's just say, a hot dog or a hamburger is going to cut it.
I don't see a lot of food, but I do see guys with a picture of a fish they just got and swipe left. I mean, I'm also vegan, so I don't, that just...
Right, I get that 100%.
Yeah, so that to me, but I don't, maybe some girls are into that. I'm not, and I just think that's kind of cringe, and so I swipe left on that. But I haven't seen too many guys with, pictures of just food that's not a fish.
Okay.
I did actually see, and that was one of the guys that didn't show their faces. It was a fish on a plate. And that, to me, was hilarious. Because
I think we've uncovered a secret underground food pit means this. One thing I wanted to talk about, if we go back before, Tinder and apps was a thing, most people met at work, met through friends, met through a social activity, etc.
I miss those days. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Erase all that. It seems to be everybody sits at home in their gym jams with a glass of wine, swipe right, swipe left, maybe, no, definitely not, etc. Being able to sit in the comfort of your home, swipe away to your heart's content, post whatever you like, as in your image, your information. There's an awful lot that we can hide behind. We can generate using various digital systems. We can give ourselves brighter blue eyes, longer hair. We can shave off 20 kilos, etc.
Yeah.
So I do think just the general way that dating has gone tech just opens up a whole new world and a plethora of image manipulation, hiding behind the person I would like to be. And you briefly mentioned catfishing, which I did a podcast on quite some time ago, and I'm actually going to link to this podcast because everybody should listen to that podcast, because you don't want any catfishing in your life, your sisters, your brothers, your mums, your cousins, your best friends. Nobody needs catfishing in their life.
You're right. Nobody wants catfishing in their lives, but yet when you're working with apps, it's kind of like bound to happen, which is why I don't like the apps. And that's kind of why I laughed when the guy with the fish in the plate, because he's literally catfishing me. But that's the thing that dating apps don't account for, right? Like somebody could check all the boxes and could give you an idea that they have everything that you're looking for, but then when you meet with them, the chemistry is just nowhere to be found, so the apps don't really account for chemistry. Chemistry is something that you have to feel like when you're with somebody. And so that's another reason why I shy away from the apps, because I've been out on dates with guys who I met on apps and they seemed lovely, but there was just nothing there, and granted, I've become friends with some people that I've been on dates with from Tinder. And, they were lovely people. There was nothing wrong with them per se, but we just didn't feel like the romantic vibes. And so we decided to be friends. So I think it's the thing that I don't like about apps the most is that it doesn't count for chemistry.
So one thing I'm interested in, when you've found somebody you're interested in on Tinder, would you then start a conversation with them, like text messaging?
I mean, I'd start text messaging with them on the app for a little bit just to see if that they're not a psycho, because I don't really want to give them my WhatsApp unless I kind of have that assurance, because you never know. So I try to stick to Tinder as much as I can, but it's not to say that I haven't gone to WhatsApp, and I've gone to WhatsApp and then the guy actually appeared to be a psycho, and that's kind of a reminder. I'm like, okay, don't give out your number. But yeah, I try to stick to the apps for as long as I can, because I don't want to give my personal information out.
I mean, I understand that 100%. From my experience here, I did start doing a speedy dating event in Valencia. And the reason was I had so many conversations with male and females, really finding it tough to find a partner. Now, I thought a speedy dating was going to be great because you are sitting in front of that person, and it was for straight male, female, or at least it was to the best of my knowledge. And the idea was you would have a sort of 15 minutes conversation, and then you'd mark on your sheet of paper, yes, we got on okay, no, we absolutely hate each other, or a question mark. It's like, well, yeah, we could. And you'd go round and meet everybody else, and you'd meet everybody 3 times. So somebody may have started off as an absolute no, the second time a maybe, and in that third conversation, you both discovered you've a love of, I don't know, Shakespeare or something. Yeah. And oh my God, did you know there's a Shakespeare meetup in Valencia? Let's go. Even if you end up as Shakespeare buddies, that was great. Right. I wasn't expecting, and I was very realistic, I wasn't expecting, okay, you're going to meet the man of your dreams, the very first person you speak to, the very first time at speedy dating. That was not the idea. One of the things that really surprised me is it was going to be a very small event, 6 ladies, 6 men. And I was very conscious of keeping it small, because a lot of the comments I had is, I want to have a good conversation where I can hear the other person speaking, so a noisy club isn't going to cut it, and have a little bit of time with that person face to face. The ladies and the men had no idea who was going to turn up, and I thought it was something worth trying. My experience was the men were great. They would turn up looking presentable, lovely, lovely guys. The ladies. Okay. And this is the reason I stopped it. I probably did 5 or 6. And I would probably have like 20 plus ladies. Yeah, book me a place. Well, there's only 6 places. Yeah, well, I definitely want to come. Blah, blah. I said, right. My experience is as an organiser, until your bottom is on a chair, you're not coming. Oh, no, I'll be there. Okay, that's lovely. And like airlines, I always, a bit of a margin. I've got 6 places. I'm going to have like 9 ladies. I knew full well I was lucky if 3 would turn up. Interesting. So that was the first thing. And then it would be, well, where are all the ladies? All the gentlemen are sitting there. They've got their drink. They've got their bit of paper. Nothing. Now, was it the ladies strolled past the bar, looked in and thought, oh, there's nobody there for me, keep walking? Did they have an emergency at work, family emergency? Yeah, I appreciate those things happen. But I got the impression the ladies maybe got cold feet, couldn't be bothered, did, a drive past, etc., etc. That's really one of the reasons I said enough is enough. I hate the fact that it failed. And yes, we did have some matches, and I hope those people have gone on to have a relationship in whatever form that may be. Yeah. But for me, there's got to be something like that. And I know, particularly in Valencia, we did have a lot of speedy dating events. Mine was completely free. All you had to do was to buy a drink at the bar respectfully. A lot of them, it's going to cost you €20.
I went to a speed dating event, but it was it was a total failure because my friend and I went together, and they said to show up anytime between 7 and 10. We're like, okay, that's weird. That's usually a speed dating. You have to be at a certain time. But we're like, all right, let's go check it out. We got there like at 8-ish, and there was nobody there. And it looked like people had come and then nothing really happened, and so they left. So we got there, and there was a bartender there. We're like, what happened? And they're like, yeah, no, everyone left because it just wasn't, it wasn't organized. And we're like, oh, okay, well, are you guys single? And he's like, no, honey, I'm gay. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, it's so I can't say I've been to a speed dating event. I've always been interested in it, but it just seems like the one that I tried was really unorganized. And you're not the first person I talked to that tried speed dating. They were just like, no, it doesn't work. I mean, I don't know if it works, if it's because of Valencia or just it doesn't work in general. But I did go to a Pitch a Friend event though. So Pitch a Friend is when you kind of, you pitch your single friend using Canva or a PowerPoint to tell them how awesome they are. Like, oh, this is so-and-so, she likes this and that. She has a dog. She's looking for XYZ. And so I did go to one of those, and that was fun. My friend and I pitched each other, and that was really fun. Nothing really came out of it. I got in a couple of DMs, but that was about it. But I think for me, that's more fun than a speed dating.
This is interesting, isn't it? You're talking about this event, Pitch Your Friend, because the other thing is it's very difficult for people to make friends. Now, we are living in Valencia. You're originally from the US?
Yeah, well, I was born in Brazil, but I spent most of my life in the US.
You're living in a new country. I'm originally from the UK. I run an event called Mingle and Meet, and it's a monthly event, and the idea is, even if you've lived here for 35 years or you've arrived that afternoon, come along, meet other people, have a drink, find out what's going on in the city, find out information about where's a good hairdresser, where can I buy this, and it's just exchanging information. Yeah. And this is a really fun event because, particularly in Valencia, people are living in different, what we call barrios, different neighbourhoods. Right. And there's different things going on. And it's a big problem to try and find out what's going on in Valencia. So sharing information. But a lot of friendships are born out of that, yeah, which is really, really interesting. But going back to the dating, people don't seem to be meeting people at work or through friends anymore. We've now gone to the technical side and we're using things like apps and they're not working. Where should we be going?
I'm going to push against that a little bit because I do have friends that have met through work or have met through, friends. It's still possible. Is it the number one place to meet somebody? No. But because we have all these options of apps, but it is still possible. And that's basically like, I would prefer meeting someone that way. It's more natural. You meet them in IRL in real life. But to answer your question, like, where should we go? Unfortunately, I don't really have the answer for that because I wouldn't be single. It's not like I'm desperate to date someone. I'm not, I'm just trying to live my life. And if I find someone who's in the same wavelength as I am and we want to spend time together, then that's groovy. But I'm not, it would be great to have a partner, but it's not my number one thing right now. I mean, I'm trying to start a business. I have my own things going on. So I hate to say it because when people tell me this, I kind of like roll my eyes, but it kind of happens when you're not expecting. And, I mean, it sucks, but it's kind of true. And so I try not to put too much pressure on myself because I have a great life. I have lots of great friends, a really good support system. I have great friends here in Valencia. I have great friends back in the States. So I'm really lucky. But, I'm also, I don't subscribe to the idea that you need to be with somebody to be happy, because that's not true. I've been in relationships before where I was miserable. So I'd rather be alone and happy than with somebody and miserable. So ladies, sorry, I don't have an answer for you on where to meet them.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I personally met my husband in a hospital. And I always say to people, if I can meet the most perfect man for me under those circumstances, you can meet somebody. Yeah. And my other point, as I always say, you will meet them when you're least expecting it. In other words, when you've nipped out at midnight in your pajamas and your bunny slippers to put your trash out onto the bins on the street, you're going to bump into Mr. Right. Yeah. That is my theory. And I always say, when you stop pushing, it will come. And another thing I wanted to talk about is, I remember quite some time ago watching a documentary on Netflix about matchmaking, and it was particularly talking about the Indian community. And I watched this and I thought, this is the way to go. So I want your opinion on this. With matchmaking, it's basically both partners will sit down with the matchmaker and you go through these questions. What type of personality are you looking for? What about their interests? So, for example, if there is a guy who plays football on a Saturday morning, rugby on a Sunday morning, does tennis 3 nights a week, and you're not sporty at all, that's probably not a good match. But I think if you sat down and you had some very precise questions, as in, what can you bring to a relationship? What are you looking for in that relationship? Are you looking for marriage? Are you looking for exclusive? Do you just want a bonk on a Saturday night? In brackets, no judgment. For all those different categories, and there's probably 10,000 more, if we sat down and got brutally honest to say, this is what I would bring to the relationship, and this is what is acceptable to me. These are my values. This is what I would value from another person. And I always think the 2 most important questions in a relationship is the baby question and the money question. For example, if you're starting out on a relationship, do you both want children? Do you both not want children? Does one yes and the other one no? I always say, maybe not on the first date, but certainly when you're starting to get serious, because I've known couples where one party desperately wanted to be a parent and the other one, no way, Jose. And the other one is money, because if one of you is a saver and one's a spender, you've got to meet, each other halfway. Otherwise, you're going to either have no money or you're going to have a lot of issues. And one of the main causes of problems in a relationship is children, sex, and money. Okay, off you go.
Okay, so that's a very loaded question. I agree. With children and money and sex. With children, it's funny. I actually broke it off with a guy who did. This is back in my 30s. Broke it off with a guy who didn't want kids, and I really wanted kids at this point, or at that point in my life. Now I don't really want children because I've gotten older, and I don't know, I just don't want them anymore. And so now I'm like the opposite way. If a guy really wants children, I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna work, because I don't know if I'm not exactly baby bearing age anymore. Like I said, I don't know if I want them anymore. So it kind of shifted. So all this to say that things can change. However, if you're on a date with somebody and you really want children and that person doesn't want children, get out, because you have to take someone at their face value at that moment, because if you're not going to change their mind, and that's only going to cause resentment. I would say, yeah, that's a really big thing to agree on, and I mean, I changed, but that's the exception. That's not the rule. Usually people don't change their mind about that. And then as far as money goes, yeah, I don't really have anything to say about that. I mean, I will say that I don't ever want to rely on my partner for money. I want to make my own. Yeah, like even when I buy a house, I want it to be in my name. I mean, there could be a separate house with both our names in it, but I want my own assets. Some guys are not okay with that. Some guys are like, no, I want to provide. And I'm like, all right, well, go provide for someone else then. So yeah, that's all I have to say with money. And then sex, yeah, you do have to have sexual compatibility, I think, but that's not the only thing that, like, it's just relying on sex is not sustainable for a relationship to work. You have to have sexual compatibility, but the compatibility has got to be spot on in other areas too. But yeah, if there's no sex, and unless you guys are both okay with not having sex, then like, by all means, go forth.
So what do you think about the matchmaker idea? I mean, if somebody gave you a piece of paper with like 50 questions, and in theory to get really clear on who you are, who you're looking for as a life partner, what do you think of that idea? Good, bad?
It could work. I mean, honestly, I don't think there's a yes or no. It really just depends. It's very situational. Yeah, if you get really specific about things, it could work. But again, there's that chemistry, right? You could line up in so many ways, but if there's no chemistry, it's kind of hard to make it work. I don't know. I would give it a whirl. I would give it a try, but I wouldn't, bank on that necessarily.
I mean, I think you are 100% right on the chemistry. And that is not going to translate when you're swiping right and left. You're just going, I like guys that are 6'4", blonde, blue eyes. That's fine. That's what he looks like. But then we've got his interests, his personality, what floats his boat, what are his passions, and then it's the chemistry. None of that really translates, because I imagine, and please correct me, when you're swiping, you're just swiping on the image. That's number one. If the image is like, okay, maybe, then you start reading the information about him, number two. But still, that chemistry, because let's face it, we've all met people who look, for a female, absolutely stunning. The guy's absolutely gorgeous, and just nothing behind the eyes. We've all been there.
Yeah, we have. And I have this joke in my stand-up that, I don't go for super hot men because they usually mean trouble. And so, but I do agree with you that a lot of women, they look at, it's kind of like shopping for men in a way. They look at the image first, and if the image suits them, then they go beyond. I don't know. I try not to do that, but we're all human. I have been in dates with a gorgeous, gorgeous guy, and it was just crickets the entire time. So,
In the past, people met through work, friends, and yes, that does go on to a certain degree. But I would say the major way of finding a partner now is through Tinder. If that isn't working, we've briefly talked about matchmaking, and I personally would love be an organizer of matchmaking, because I think for me, having somebody sitting down and go, what can you bring to a relationship? What are you looking for in a relationship? What are your values? Do you respect people's time? Are you always the person we're, waiting for in the restaurant because you got the wrong restaurant, you got on the wrong bus? Is that going to drive you up the wall? I'm wondering if matchmaking is the way to go, or is there something else? I think we can probably say Tinder is not working, but what I've seen recently on social media, a lot of women are finding their partner, whether that's married partner, live-in partner, exclusive partner, whatever, finding their profile on Tinder, and they have gone into his phone, found out when he's meeting this woman, and she's gone along. And I'm like, oh my God. Now, these are all over social media. Whether they are 100% real or whether they're AI generated, I don't know. Reading through, I would say most of them are real. Okay. I see it from a female's perspective, very few from the men catching their wives on Tinder. So maybe that is more a vehicle for men to look for a relationship outside of their marriage or their exclusive relationship. There's got to be something better than the way Tinder is going now. Putting our heads together, what do we think we can come up with?
Honestly, I'm starting to think that this is all by chance. I hate that I don't have a better answer. And it's different in every scenario. I don't think, I don't know if I understood where.
When the wife has found the husband's profile on Tinder, she's printed it off, stuck it on the fridge, packed his bags, and basically left them at his place of work, that type of thing. But I just think with matchmaking, the matchmaker is sitting in front of, let's call it the client for want of a better word. I'm seeing you face to face. You've brought me this picture. You're telling me you're like 39, and this picture was when you were 19, and this is the one you want to have to go with your matchmaking profile. That makes no sense. Yeah. I need a picture of who you are today. Yeah. It's much harder to lie when you're sitting in front of the matchmaker going, okay, this is me, warts and all. This is what I value. If you get both parties doing that, so the man sits in front of the matchmaker and the woman, and we can clearly see, okay, so this picture was taken on your Ibiza holiday when you were 19, but you're telling me you're 39 now.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I feel like men and women too, they need a good guy to be like, okay, they need somebody to say like, don't put that picture. Like, that's not you today, or don't put that picture with your sister. Like that might be, not conceived the way that you want it to. Sometimes people need a guide. And so the chances are probably better if you do it that way than with an app, because with the app, everything is free for all. I mean, there are better apps than Tinder. There's apparently Hinge is the big one, and Bumble, where they get a little more specific in asking questions. But I think a matchmaker would be better in that sense, because it kind of, he or she would put you in the right direction and give you good advice on like how to get someone to look at you, get eyes on your profile.
I think the idea with the matchmaker is basically it's almost treating it as a project you. I'm serious about this. I'm going to really sit down. It's like you've got homework. Okay, I've got to fill in these 4 pages about who I am, who I'm looking for, what I value in a relationship. That is very different to uploading a picture, trying to chop off your sister or your ex-girlfriend, or a nice photograph of your latest culinary extravaganza, writing your blurb, and then you can hide behind that and have little conversations with who knows who. So I think putting skin in the game, presenting yourself in front of somebody, and I filled, the 4-page questionnaire in, this is where we're at. And I think from that information, hopefully, because I think it's a lot harder to lie when you're sitting in front of somebody and going, yes, I'm serious about finding somebody, but you've got 4 pages of lies here. Yeah. That's not going to take much time to come out when you're sitting in front of a prospective partner, husband, wife, or even you've got a shared love of Shakespeare. So even using a matchmaker, you may not find your ideal husband, but you've found a pal for life who loves Shakespeare. Yeah. I just think looking at it as a project and filling in 4 pages of in-depth, you're not going to do that in one night. You're going to say to your sister, okay, how would you describe me? Mm-hmm. Well, I think you're scatty. You're always late. You're always disorganized. You're always losing your keys. Okay, how's that going to go down? Yeah, exactly. So what do we think?
No, I agree. I think you should look at it like a project. Yeah, and like I said before, the matchmaker is really your guide, and it's more in depth. Because with a profile, it doesn't take long to create a profile on Tinder or Bumble or Hinge, whatever. But with a matchmaker, it's a little more work intensive. The harder the work, the better the results, I guess. Yeah, I definitely think the matchmaker would work. But can I just say something else too? So there's finding someone to go on a date with, right? And then once you go on a date with them, there's that too. It's like finding the compatibility, being straightforward, because I've been on dates with guys that I thought like, okay, there's chemistry here. This could work. But then the guy was like really wishy-washy, didn't know what he wanted. And I mean, I just went on a couple dates with a guy who seemed like really, really into me. And I was like, okay, like I'm feeling this, like we're vibing. And then it just, he kind of didn't really, I mean, he said it, he didn't really feel the spark, but he was acting like he felt the spark. And it's kind of like, well, that's a waste of time. Like if you're gonna, I feel like it's really important for people to be honest with each other. And I'm not saying that this is something that you should do, but I've been on dates with somebody that the vibes were off, like it was awkward, it was crickets. And I've kind of gotten to the point in my life where I'm like, okay, well, this isn't really going well. Like, let's, say goodbye, let's cut our losses, because I don't want to waste anyone's time. I don't want to waste my time either. So I don't know. I would never do that 10 years ago, but now I'm kind of comfortable saying like, okay, well, this isn't really working out. So do you want to just, see you later? But yeah, that's how I feel about it anyways.
I mean, Cinthia, we have covered so much on this conversation. Whether matchmaking is the way to go, I think we've both discovered a little bit more about what's going on through our conversations with other people about the world of dating. Yeah. It's tricky out there by all accounts. I would just like to say, I met my perfect partner, and we've been married 20 plus years now, at a hospital.
Was he your doctor?
No, he wasn't. I mean, I was reluctant to say this, but basically both of our fathers were passing. It's my father's birthday today. It's a bit of a crazy one, but I'm going to dedicate this to my dad today, because I believe my dad thought, I'm going and I'm going to put the perfect man in the lap of my daughter.
I love that.
I believe that's what my dad did. And it's actually his birthday today. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional. Happy birthday, Dad. I just want to say to everybody, please don't give up hope. And, remember what I said. When you're putting out your rubbish at night, you've snuck out in your pajamas, you're going to meet that man.
Yes, you're right. And also, ladies and gentlemen, get to know you I know this sounds really, really cheesy, but it's true. Be really happy with who you are, and be okay with being alone, and don't feel like you have to have someone to be happy, because you're never going to be happy that way. If you're relying on someone else to be happy, then that's not how it works. Be happy with yourself first, and then you'll start attracting people. And I'm not one to talk because I'm still single, but I'm happily single too. I love my life. And I will say that the dating life gives me a whole bunch of good material to say on stage. I mean, that's what I love about being a comic. I always joke, like, if I find someone, like, where are the jokes going to come from? Because my whole thing is dating, my dating in my 40s. Yeah. So even if you're not a comic, at least you'll have good stories to tell,
I mean, Cinthia, I'm so glad you added, be happy with who you are. Your partner does not define you. So I'm so, so happy we are ending the podcast with those words of wisdom. Cinthia, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much. This has been so fun. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for listening to that podcast, and I hope you enjoyed our conversation as much as I did. So please subscribe for future episodes on whatever platform you are listening to this on. It is free, and please share this podcast. And if you have a story to tell, please contact me on allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com and let's tell your story.